careful, conscious of the fact that if we dare misstep, it is going to have a problem. It is only going to elongate. You know, Nigeria now. If you do any one misstep, and the man he knows how to go to court and obtain injunctions more than anybody I've ever known. So that just to get a court to say, no, you have done wrong, you are not supposed to do this, and therefore he continues, and it may take us another 4 years. That is what we don't want. That's why we were careful. We continued to drag him, and he was thinking. Let me tell you one thing he once said. When somebody was confronting him about the efforts of NLC, and it's true, he said, leave them. I know how to wear them down. Sarcastically, he said, I know how to wear them down. Thinking that, well, during my time we tried, though not with him, we could not succeed. During Waba's time, they tried partly with him towards the end. They could not also get to a conclusion. They could not succeed. So he now believed that he knows how to wear NLC down. But when we were assembled, we said, okay, it is not even NLC. The fight is not NLC directly. All the stakeholders. So we said, okay, let's move on. Though some of us do not have age on our side, but we can still wobble and wobble, but not to fall down. Until we were able to see him fall down. He fell into the trap, and he fell down where the INEC now drew the line. Even yesterday, was it yesterday? Or he was telling me that INEC in Edo refused to hand over the list of the agents to his people in Edo. And that is why we keep cautioning people in all the states that look, like in Kaduna and Gombe, where they have been, he has somebody who has been collecting money for nomination forms. And if you see the gimmick, he said everybody should bring cash. Is there any organization that will say it is cash you will pay? And they have collected so much money. We told them, don't worry. We are moving. By the time we get to a certain point, some people will definitely go to jail. Definitely. Because we are not living in a lawless society. But let them continue to do it. But we want the participants, the contestants, that don't go and throw your money away. The major fear or the major worry is that if some parties are watching and it is going to be walk over for them, they will collect their nominations, they will validate everything, they will conduct election. Even when they declare them winners, they will go to court. And you remember what happened in Zamfara. You remember what happened in Plateau. All the House of Assembly people were declared, their election was declared null and void. Why? Because the judge says the structure that brought them on, that is the leadership that nominated them, was a nullity. That was all. That's exactly what happened also to the Zamfara state governor. He was elected, but the court said, no, you are not elected because you are not there. You cannot stand on, well, it's not even empty. You cannot stand in the air to say that you are. So that is why we have been cautioning. I think that answers your question. And for all others, I said it in my speech that in the next 1 and maximum 2 weeks, we shall be over with all these things. And that is when, by the grace of God, you will see us. Okay. I think his question was, why is Abure still? I think that also, this one answers this thing. Abure is still relevant in negativity, just like he has been doing. But by the time we get there, you will see what will happen.
Abure has no power, and all his group are just we know what they are looking for. The small money when Abure give them, that's what they are defending. And it cannot work. Look at the people, look at them here. We will fight to the last. And we are going to get, I think, 6/6. Yes. Eh? Yes. 6/6. That is what we are looking for in Abuja here. You people can go to Kaduna and get it, but Abuja here, leave it for us.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Leave it for us. We are going to get everything that needed in this Abuja for our party. Therefore, I appreciate and I thank you for visiting us and taking your time to visit us. As you have visited us now, God will take you back safely. Everybody that is here, God will take you back safely. And we, elders, when they pray for you, both at your home, it must come to pass. Whether they prayed for your good or for your bad. We are praying for the bad of our Abure people. And that is why they said, Elders Forum, they will do what? They want to remove us and then now put authentic elders. And I told them that we are original elders, so you cannot do nothing. We are with the people that we know that has the party. Can't do us nothing.
It is only when you take Labour Party first because of its policies, ideologies and ideals that we want to change Nigeria for the better. That you are able to come together, but you have not gone into the contest, but be one another's helper. It may be possible that we will not all go in and all win, but let's losing make us become enemies to the winners. Let us look at the bigger picture. That wherever we are doing it because we want to change the system that is being very terrible to almost every Nigerian. If we do that, I believe we are going to move forward much, much faster. Having said that, I wouldn't want to say so much because my people have said it all. But let me just try to crown it up. I said earlier that I thank you very much. And I also listened to the MC when I believe he was trying to refer to Barrister Julius Abure. That, I think it was the Hausa who said it. Is it? No. Dangwari. Mba. Let me add it also. Dangwari, Hausa. Because I was speaking with him the other day, but we are not speaking English.
You know all of them.
Now, when he said that, when somebody is of low level intelligence, and I thought he was referring to Abure. I said, no, that's not the case. It is people who have extreme intelligence that can be able to manipulate. The only good thing is that, like my people say, every day is for the team, but there shall be one day that is for the honor. I think that's exactly the case with the Barrister Julius Abure. The man is very intelligent in negativity. After all, he's a lawyer. Yes, he's very intelligent, but in negative. No, it's true. You are told that he didn't come to the leadership of Labour Party. He was not elected. You know very well what happened. I was president of Nigeria Labour Congress when somebody, I have been trying to recall the person, somebody came to my office as president of NRC then with Barrister Comrade Abure. What did they come for? They said he brought him to beg me to please allow him to come to the Labour Party center as assistant secretary. He was the secretary, I think assistant secretary in Edo. Yes. I said, I have no problem. He's a worker, let him go. I tell you, there was a day I was invited by the secretary, Farouk, when he took me to the office of Abure, that by then chairman of Labour Party. I don't think he spoke more than 5 words to me. He even pretended he never knew me at all in this world. But my joy is that if today, if I is the chairman of Labour Party, I'm not demeaning him. But my joy is that if I go to former President Goodluck Jonathan, or former President Obasanjo, or even IPOB, and all these people, if you see how we will sit down and discuss, you know that if an Abure will not recognize me, I don't have any problem. I must say that this gathering is worthwhile. And I thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
because this is the beginning of a journey that, by the grace of God, will make great impact on Nigeria and Nigerians. You must have heard that we are facing a lot of problems here and there. You may not unconnect this with some other hidden powers, but God is our strength. Our hearts, God knows, are open and plain. All we need is to transform and reposition Labour Party so that it shall benefit Nigerians better. Let me just, because the aspirants, I think a group of them came to us and we discussed with them, so I don't want to repeat myself, but let me tell you very briefly how the journey started. Right from the beginning, this fight to reposition Labour Party in its proper path has not started with Abure. Abure just inherited it. The very people that were put by NLC in power were Labour people themselves, Labour leaders. Dan Nwanyai, who was president of Bankers Union, late A.A. Salam was the general secretary of Nolge, local government employees. So we tried so much. I must tell you, because the other time I was telling some people, I said, during my time, we tried to make them understand that this party is built for a purpose. Don't deviate from that purpose. Well, I could not make it, I could not succeed seriously before my time was up. Ayub Awaba, who succeeded me, tried his best. He could not also come to the end. That is why I was telling some people that Comrade Abure is the luckiest of us three, because he stood and the battle had gone so far that, like we say, there's no going back. The genesis of this NTC in brief is the fact that there have been chaos. We have been trying to correct this party. Do you know that it is because of the leadership style that we are not even able to we have not realized 1/3 of what we ought to have realized during the 2023 presidential general election. But if you look at it, was carefully designed. Apart from being transactional, the nominations are for the highest bidder, not minding quality or any other considerations. Again, even where quality candidates emerge, then there will now be connivance with other parties so that we dampen the morale of the candidate, or even withdraw him, or put him in a very precarious situation that maybe it will face nullification and so on, just because of the money that the people will collect. And NLC, because NLC honestly is the organization that first established the Labour Party. Even the judge, the Federal High Court judge mentioned that Labour Party, though, is not a trade union, but it is established, nurtured, and promoted by NLC for the benefit of Nigerian workers, and by extension for the benefit of Nigerian masses. Unfortunately, we keep seeing things being done differently from the yearnings and aspirations of even the founding fathers. To the extent that NLC at one point had to set up a caretaker committee, meaning sacking those leaders, Salam and so on. There was a serious squabbles between them until they got to a point. They themselves saw that they could not win, and they now said, "Let us settle this," because they went to court. But they now said, "Let us settle," and they came down and agreed on certain terms. And these certain terms, the last part is saying, you, the claimant, and you, the defendants, go and work together to conduct an all-inclusive and expansive convention. And convention would mean start everything from the grassroots. Because if you don't have members, if today you say bring out the registers of membership of Labour Party people in Nigeria, you can't find them. We can't live and work on falsehood when we are preaching that falsehood is not good. So convention would mean you do the grassroots world congresses, elect leaders, concrete leaders that will now come together to elect leaders of the local government. And those leaders of the local governments will come together to elect leaders of the state. And it is only when we shall have done that that we will now convene a national convention where delegates will come and genuinely cast their votes for the candidates of their choice. And then when leaders emerge in that process, what will you expect? They must settle down to work for the people. This is what we are saying. And this is what NLC started. So with that arrangement, the judge now, because they agreed on those things, the Federal High Court judge now said, this is my judgment. You must go and do these things together. That is why the problem came in. Because by 2021, that's the then leader, A.A. Salam, died. And it is a story for another day to tell you how Abure emerged as even the chairman. The constitution provides that there are deputies. And by hierarchy, if there's no chairman, it is one of the deputies that will step in. And even after, if there are no more deputies, there are 6 vice chairmen. But Abure was not even in the line of the chairmanship. But he manipulated his way. That's why I said he is extremely intelligent.
Intelligent rule.
In negativity.
He's a Yahoo boy.
Yes. So with that, even with that court's judgment, the man now continued to ignore the judgment. Each time NLC will say, come, let us do this thing. At one point, even INEC had to write to them, to say, look, you must comply with the consent judgment. Unfortunately, they decided to look the other way. And the journey continued and the struggle continued. Up to a point where INEC decided to call the 2 parties. Who are the 2 parties? Nigeria Labour Congress and the Labour Party, the leadership. They sat down under the watchful eyes of INEC and said, okay, let's plan what to do. INEC now, they now marshaled out that we shall do A, B, C. There are certain nominations that will be made by NLC based on the provisions of the Constitution. And then Labour Party will complete the other part. And this agreement was signed by Abure himself as national chairman and Umar Farouk as national secretary on behalf of Labour Party. And on the other side, it was signed by Ayuba Waba President of NLC, and Emmanuel Ogwaja, Secretary General of NLC, on behalf of NLC. So any sane person will have now known that you have two parties. If you are to resolve this issue, let them come together and continue and work together. We wouldn't have been where we are by now. But again, unfortunately, because of high level of intelligence, Abure decided to look the other way. And instead, he started pursuing other ways. To the extent that when he saw that the time was running out for him in 2023, he now summoned another NEC meeting where even the national leader, His Excellency Peterobi, was even the one who suggested, who now encouraged the NEC, because he sought for more than 2 years extension, Abure. And he started reason for the National Presidential Tribunal, Election Tribunal, that there shouldn't be any distraction. And people agreed. And the leader said, okay, let us give him 1 year. And that 1 year was to end by the 9th of June this year. Instead of him to now say, call the parties to say, let us now plan for a national convention. In fact, he clearly deceived even the NLC, because when he told them he was coming to the office, he actually went to the office, he discussed. That was to tell other people that maybe he had gone and had discussion with NLC leadership. Only for NLC, 2 days later, to hear that they are now in first they wanted to go to Omar here. But because of the alert given by NLC and other stakeholders, and even the party leader, the governor now decided that, no, don't come to my state. So they now moved to Newi, where they held what they called a convention. No, they call it a national convention. But a national convention of the third strongest party in Nigeria. You want to hold it first within a day, within a night, within a hall. I don't think the halls, there are very few halls that can be used to hold a proper convention, if you go by the provisions of the Constitution. Anyway, and in that convention, there was no single voting. No single voting. And even the line of, it is not everybody, every position that was fielded. I think it was later we realized, because when we met somewhere, they were saying, well, you can come, so that's why we reserved certain positions, so that you can come and take these positions. Unfortunately, INEC cautioned that it is not a convention. And the people he was working with in INEC at the lower level did everything to convince the leadership of INEC to allow them to go to Newi, so that it will now be justified. But the national leadership said, no, we cannot do this kind of thing. Now, after that convention, they came out now, as usual, thinking that he has now applied another intelligence to say that he has the next 4 years. But Nemesis was soon to catch up with him, because, like I said, at this point in time, sensing that there could be a vacuum, leadership vacuum, NLC, in its own wisdom, decided through its national political commission, said, look, we must do something this time. That thing that Abure and his group decided not to do, by including everybody, let us do it before his time is up. So through consultation, they now called major stakeholders of the party. Therefore, on the 8th of April this year, a summit was held where a resolution was taken that in anticipation of the upcoming expiration date of Abure National Working Committee, we cannot afford to allow for a vacuum. Therefore, a National Transition Committee was established. And this National Transition Committee, please take note, is not NLC. NLC has members, I think about 5 members. Other groups, if I can mention, this one group, Concerned Citizens Forum, Coalition for New Nigeria, Labour Party Patriotic Members Council, the Big Tent. The larger group also is even the Obedience. And all this, and the Obedience, they have different groups and so on. All these were drawn together. This formed the membership of the National Transition Committee to work towards repositioning Labour Party. And that is exactly what we set out to be doing. Unfortunately, there have been so many hitches, and there have been so many legal hurdles. And that is why many people have been saying we have been very slow. But it is not that we have been very slow. We have been very slow, but we have been very steady. Because if we had moved faster, we would have tumbled. And the whole thing, the intelligence would now have worked. Unfortunately for him, it did not work. We continued to mount pressure to the point that even INEC had no choice, because the truth is always one. And that was why the first time some of us got wind of this thing already. We knew it was coming. But for the first time, Nigerians, specifically Labour Party members, saw that he got a roadblock. When the quarterly meeting of leadership of parties was convened, at first I was told they tried to be very polite with him, because we saw when some commissioners cornered him and they were joking, telling him, please, you are not invited. We were told he was not invited before that day, but please don't. And he insisted. There was nothing they could do until they went into the hall, and then they shamefully, they now had to use the local security to walk them out of the hall. And since then, he has not relented, because he is still thinking that they are still a way. But I should tell you that we have gone far ahead. In fact, perhaps by next week or the other week, we will have settled and now focus on the mandates we have. And I want to tell you that the mandate we have is simple, very, very simple. We are to work towards creating registers at the ward level. When we register, mobilize and register, our target was 10 million. But by grace of God, we are going to exceed that. In fact, some people are already beginning to change to say, let it be 30 million. And it is a possibility. And we want to do it openly and transparently. But we must convince people to join the party. When we convince them, we will also convince them to elect the leaders they want. And by the time we now come up and convene a befitting national convention of the party, where national leadership will be elected, we will hand over, we will be more than happy. We will sit down and watch, satisfied in our minds that yes, we are repositioning Labour Party. This is our mission. I don't know of any other person. I am not having any ambition of becoming anything in Labour Party.